Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to go over the new Dragonic core updates, how to configure the server, how to set it up, and the differences between Dragonic core and retail core. The differences between the two cores are actually quite simple. One of the cores supports a Luna script and the other one is just the basic retail core that allows you to pray to the story. So the differences in Dragonic core are that a Luna script allows it to have certain features or custom unlocks made possible to the player. For example, the druid forms in the barbershop or the enhancements for all weapons that are completely unlocked, as well as the chatbot, for example, because Dragonic core has its own chatbot that basically writes messages, so the server seems a little bit more alive to the players who are playing alone at home and don't actually play locally or host the server themselves. With that all said, we can basically start the video. The setup process for Dragonic core or retail core is basically the same. The downloading of the maps is like the same as the previous videos, although I would include the process as well. And yeah, let's get on into it. So we want to start first basically going to the retail core, Dragonic core servers. You can choose based on how do you like to play the game. As I said earlier in the video, you can choose Dragonic core if you want to have a little bit more freedom and use the Luna script, or perhaps write your own script and add some features to the game that are not natively there. Or if you want to go more, okay, so if you want to go more stock and more retail-like experience, then go back to the Baltic core server now, which used to be retail core server. I guess the name changed overnight again. Anyway, and then you go to the dev environment and you can go from there to the GitHub link and basically pull the core from there, or go to the Dragonic core and scroll down all the way until you find release. And after you find release, you will see the last version standing on the bottom. So what else you would actually need to play this is you would need to get your Battle.net client directly from Blizzard. I recommend you to download the full client, because not downloading the full client will always cause your game to download different assets. So basically, at the moment of the recording of this video, the last version of the server that's available on the Dragonic core is going to be the 58680. And well, there is a new update. Eventually that update will be released as well in the server, but for the moment 58680 should be fine. So other than that, you would basically need to get the assets for the core. So what you normally would do is go to the Arctic Arctium server, or the index of the Arctium.io. It's where they host the data for all private servers. After you have downloaded all the files, you want to extract all these files. This can take some time, so depending on how fast your PC is, it might be between 5 to 15, 20 minutes, because that's a lot of files. Basically, the whole server is around 24, 26 gigabytes, including all the assets from Arctic. Okay, after you have finished extracting the files, you will end up on something like this. What you want to do is you want to take all these folders and basically move them to the server folder. That's going to be this path. And you basically paste all the folders inside here. After that, your course folder should look like this. So another thing that's actually quite important for this is if you're going to use a custom folder, if you're going to place your server somewhere else than that, for example, like mine, I have this folder, please do not use spaces in the folder path, otherwise neither retail core or Dragonic core will actually work for you. So with that said, we can now go and test up the server stats. And that's actually quite easy. You want to go to the unizip folder and then you want to run the uni controller. Then your computer is going to allow you, if you want to allow this application to be allowed in your firewall, you want to allow this. And then you want to start the database. If the database has started correctly, you will get this. If there is an issue with the folder path, the uni server won't start and will say that you need to use a folder without spaces. After that, you will also get a notification letting you know that you also have to allow the firewall. Then you want to allow this as well because that's basically your SQL database. So after this is done, you can minimize the uni server and that will minimize also the database window, which you can always find in your control center. So then you want to go back a step further and start the Battle.net server exe, which is again going to prompt you to allow this server, this Battle.net server, to be allowed in the firewall. You want to allow this. Then you want to go down to the world server exe. If you have many loggers, which are weird errors, you can always go into the configuration file and use find and just write logger. And here you are going to see different numbers and what they mean. You also want to go here and change most of them to either 0 or just 3. So if you go over this, you're going to get a lot of database errors. So you want to mostly use 0 or 3, otherwise certain different types of logging information is going to show and it could take very long time for the server to actually load. After this is done, you can basically run the world server exe and you are going to see the console writing different tasks that it's actually doing at this moment, presenting different fixes or things that might be missing from the database. So you can actually ignore here these. And if you go back into that, you can also disable them for the next start so it doesn't always show up. Anyway, now we have to wait a little. So after the world server exe has started, it's going to ask you again, just like the previous 2 files, to be allowed through the firewall. And when the server has started, you're going to see down in the world server console that it has started and how long it took for it to start. For me, it's 55 seconds. You can actually make it go down up to 40, 45. If you disable many of the different loggers here, if you disable them all, you won't see anything here, but you will get much faster starting time. So now we need one last thing. For the World of Warcraft client to start, you're going to need an Arctium exe, so it allows for the World of Warcraft client to run locally or connect to private servers. You can get that from the arctium.io website and click on the World of Warcraft. Down here you are going to see a custom server launcher, which you can also see when it was last updated, but it's still working with all World of Warcraft. So you want to go into the main folder, not into the retail data folder, and you want to place your Actium launcher down here. So after this is done, you can basically start the client. So once you're in the screen where you log in, you want to use the GM account, and then just type GM as a password, and you should be able to log in without a problem. So from here on, you can just start playing without a problem. So you can basically now see after directly the login, the very first script from the Eluna core working. It's here, the bot script. You can actually disable that into the scripts folder. I think you just remove it and it should be gone. And you can also come here into the barber shop, and you can also find and change the druid forms if you're playing with this character. If not, I think other barber shop functions work just fine. And if you as well go to the so-called warband collection thingy, you can also find here the enchantments for all the weapons are also unlocked, and they can be used with different characters. Yeah, so that's basically it. It's a very nice private server. You can go to the story content, or you can just pick up a different story that's no longer being played and just start from there. You can also skip all that and go to the Exiles Reach and do everything again. Anyways, that's all for me. So stay happy, enjoy the server, and let me know in the comments if you want me to make some other video.